All right, welcome back to the podcast. Doing another on-site one here. I'm at the Pilot House. We are at the Pilot House.
Yes, sir.
So we got some background noise. Not sure how that's going to work out. Hopefully it's all right. Here with Isaiah Navales. What's going on, man?
Not too much, Jeff. I'm real excited to finally get on your podcast. You know, I think it was maybe about 6 months plus ago we had you on ours with Otis. He's busy doing borough assembly things, but, you know, glad to come on here and talk a little bit about growing up here and doing some entrepreneurship.
Yeah, we were just talking off air a little bit. So you graduated in, was it 14, right?
Yeah, I graduated from Kayhi in 2014. Then I went off to college. My freshman year, I went to Southwestern Oregon Community College and played a year of basketball there. And then after that year, I transferred to Southern Oregon University and just obtained my business management degree.
Do you have some, I've been, thinking about basketball a lot more because it's in season now. Do you have, some specific basketball memories? Not that you're, living through the past, but do you remember, a Juneau game or a Sitka game that stands out?
Yeah, I remember the first varsity point I ever scored. I was a sophomore, and we were down, I think, 4 or 6 points in the third quarter against Juneau Douglas, and they were real good that year. And for some reason, Stock put me in, and as soon as I got the ball, he's like, as soon as you touch the ball, try and score it. That's exactly what I did. Took 2 dribbles, hit a floater in the middle, and that kind of set my how I was going to be for Kayhi. And then, after that, it was kind of the team looking more at me to score and whatnot. And, we've had some good games against Juneau, some good games up there in Anchorage. A lot of it, I think, in my opinion, what was more important to me was a lot of the talent that I saw prior to me.
Right.
When I was a freshman, we had guys like Chaz Allen, Alex Williams, and Jesse Lindgren, and, Kyle Day. Kyle Day he was real good for Kayhi. And, as soon as we got of age, when my age group started to grow up and whatnot, and those guys left, it was kind of cool to already be in that situation, with those guys and, learning from them, and they learned from the previous guys. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just goes to show that the basketball culture here in Ketchikan is just, it's second to none. You got guys that are, plumbers and guys that work here locally everywhere, guys that have played for Kayhi, and, you could always just chop it up with them. And, it's that small town vibe, man.
Yeah. It's cool that after you graduate, you can talk to other people from different towns about that.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of get that. And so, the rivalry is kind of melted away a little bit. And then we're all just former Region 5 players.
Yeah.
So you can talk to people from Hoonah or Angoon or Juneau or something like that.
Well, it's cool, too, because, I've got so many friends from different cities. Some of my best friends were from Craig. Some of my best friends played over at Metlakatla, played for Juneau up north in Anchorage. And, it's one of those things we always say, it's that Southeast basketball.
Right.
Everybody can relate to that. You can go. I met so many dudes from college and whatnot that I played against. It's like, hey, just instant homies down there at college, and it pays to know people and whatnot. But it's definitely a good tradition around here for sure.
Yeah, that's Southeast. You just can't beat it in anything really.
Yeah.
You'd have the Southeast tournaments, and then things like cross country, even Music Fest, things like that.
Yeah, Music Fest is big.
So much fun. Were you in band in?
No, I took choir, but I only did that for about a year. But I wish I was in band. I did. My mom made me go to piano lessons growing up.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I still kind of know how to play piano, but never on the music band or the music festival level.
I was in band A because my dad was a teacher, and then B because it's just another trip every year.
What'd you play?
I played trumpet.
Oh, nice.
So 7 years of trumpet, but just another reason to get off the island. Here in Ketchikan, being the big city, but Prince of Wales is so small. And anything to do to get off the island. The same thing with cross country. Cross country, more trips, see more people. Just a lot of fun. Good memories.
Oh yeah. One memory I do have from just being a young guy was watching Damon Bellholzer play. I know we were talking about him off air, and I think the biggest thing for me that was pretty crazy was I think I was a junior. He just showed up at our open gyms, and it's like, oh man, this guy was just playing for the Celtics. Now he's playing here with us, and it's always cool to see guys like him come back. You familiar with Jesse LeBeau at all?
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. He came and spoke to the school a couple years ago.
So funny story. His older brother married my aunt, so we're somewhat related by a marriage.
Interesting.
But no, he's got he's got a good thing going with his mentorship thing that he's doing. But he was a really big time player here in Southeast for basketball, and it was actually pretty fun to watch him too.
Was he early 2000s?
He was, I want to say 07.
Okay,
06, 07 in that area, because he left for his sophomore year, but then he came back, and he played 4 years at a university down in San Diego, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched him play. He was the shortest guy on the floor, but I think he dropped like 32 points that game.
Yeah, he's such a... When he came back, I was impressed that he wasn't just talking about himself. He was definitely had a heart for helping other people and stuff, and that was great message.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he learned a lot of the hard knocks just it's kind of why I went into commercial fishing too. It's kind of been a family thing for me. A lot of my family members go and fish in the summertime and whatnot. So build a work ethic there, and you can translate that later on in life and whatnot.
Yeah, I never commercial fished. I don't know if people just sensed that I was soft and no one never asked me out on a boat, but I think part of it too is my parents made sure I got out during the summer, so we'd go visit relatives in Colorado just I wasn't intimidated by the real world. So I never commercial fished. But how many summers did you go out?
So I did that for about 3.5 summers, and it basically just did it to pay for my college education, just try to get ahead in life and whatnot. And in my opinion, it served me well more than the tuition payments. It taught me how to work, hard. I mean, just even working, my day-to-day jobs here and with the business and whatnot, it's like, I'm not getting jellyfish in my eye at 5 in the morning.
Yeah. What was the worst part of it? I would think that it would just be the hours, the screwing up, because everything is dependent upon the open, the price, the everything. So you
honestly,
can't afford to mess up.
I think the thing I hated the most about it, and it's going to sound kind of weird, but I think it was the whales. There were so many damn whales that would just run through our nets, and it takes about 2 hours to sew that back up. And other than that, I mean, you kind of learn how to make everything a little bit easier. When you first start, there's so many moving parts and so dangerous. But once you get, a couple of weeks under you and, you're paying attention to left and right, you kind of can see what the next plan or the next step is. And it's kind of one of those things that it should be autonomous, where it's the same thing every time. It's a successful set is the same way every time. And in my opinion, just doing the same thing over and over again is kind of, it kind of translates into my own work ethic. And it's like, you're not going to see results unless you repetitively do something. And that's with anything in life,
Yeah, there's a lot of skills that you can learn from those sort of things. But you could also, basketball can turn you into an arrogant punk. When I was coaching, I said, guys, it's easy to say, basketball taught me how to be a man, basketball taught me how to this, but it could also teach you how to just the worst possible things.
Yeah, and I was coaching Schoenbar with Rick Shaner, and then I pop into the varsity practice with Stock every now and then, and it's always good to give back and kind of, hey, this is what it was like when I was in your position, and I see you guys doing the same things, and they kind of look up to that, and they kind of take that with a grain of salt. And just thinking back, being in that gym and just thinking back to all the stupid things and little things that I did, it's like, oh, if I could see that now, I probably would have done it differently.
Yeah. It's funny once you get to you're old enough where you can look back and you can start to really appreciate that youth. Like they say, youth is wasted on the young, and no kid when they're 16, 17, or 18 is like, oh, these are the years, because you don't want to peak when you're in high school. Definitely and then you just want to get older so you get more independence, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, those are some golden years.
That's why, I think that even if once you graduate high school, I'm a firm believer that even if you don't go off to school, you should at least get out, go experience something else, kind of learn about yourself a lot, because a lot of times, just being in the same place that you grew up in, you're accustomed to so many different, I guess you could call them habits that that you're used to within this type of situation, but you go down south and completely on your own and doing a whole new thing, and it honestly serves you pretty well.
Yeah.
And traveling abroad too, that is also broadens your perspective, I guess is what they say.
Yeah. Was there anything specific that you learned about yourself? I know when I went to the University of Arizona, I didn't know anybody there.
Right.
So there's 30,000 undergrads, so between 18 and 23, 30,000 people, just totally crazy and overwhelming. But after a couple weeks, when I hadn't given into that, there's no accountability.
Right.
I hadn't given into I don't have to go to school. I'm not going to. I'm just going to go nuts. I'm going to be sheltered Cloac kid to crazy Tucson kid. I was really happy that I was able to handle the independence.
Right.
Was there anything that you learned right off when you went to college?
So that definitely it definitely resonated similarly with me. I think that the biggest thing for me was, I was never, I wouldn't call myself a straight A student. I got through school. I did what I had to do, never anything extra. So when I got to college, it was kind of like, well, you're paying for this now, so you have to it's like you got 100% get as much of it out of it as you can. And that was the biggest surprise for me was, my sophomore year in college kind of just took my general studies classes, had a good time. But then my junior year, I told myself, it's like, all right, time to go to the library, crack down. And that was something that I never did previously. So, gaining that self-discipline, I think, was definitely big and important to what I'm doing even in today's world,
Yeah. What did you get your degree in?
So I got my degree in business administration with a focus in management.
Okay. And you aren't putting that specifically to use, but you kind of have. So how have you applied that? Because I'm a teacher, but my degree is in journalism. So it's not necessarily about you go to college to do this specific thing. It's you go to college to be going in a direction, and then from that direction you can see other opportunities. So how have you put that in work?
Currently working over at Alaska Airlines, they've got this program. It's called Developing Emerging Leaders. And they take their frontline employees, so, guys that are like me working on the ramp, and they put them into like a leadership program that kind of grooms them, because Alaska Airlines per se likes to hire from within the company. So that's one way that my degree has actually served purposes, like, getting me into that program and putting my name in front of the right peers, in the management levels and whatnot. And that program, once I complete it, will help me be able to move up with the company. And that's, at this point in time, that's kind of where I'm looking at right now, just only being 25, just kind of looking to make that first step into either like a corporate or a management level setting with a big time company. But I also use it because with my business, it was kind of, business administration with the focus in management kind of gave me the full 360 spectrum on essentially how to successfully run a business, and being able to kind of know the ins and outs, and then being able to prioritize within certain departments of a business. I think that's what I'm using that within my own personal business right now. And I definitely would have to say that it served me well, just being able to at least see where I can go next and whatnot. Yeah. Not so much just being, all right, let's take what we have and make it work. It's like, no, let's take what we have and make it better for the next time and come back around and whatnot. And I think that, the business administration route was actually the best route for me. It kind of just taught me everything and a little bit of everything. And, I might even go back for my master's one day. I'm not sure, but
nice.
It's definitely, I like the degree that I chose and whatnot, so it works well.
I think if you look at education as a way of learning skills rather than earning a piece of paper, I think that makes a big difference. Oh, yeah. And then if you want to come back, there's like three different, for Southeast Alaska, there's three different ways you can go. You can just stay here after graduation. You can leave and come back on your own terms, or some people are just gone. Right. And all three of them can be fine. But I think the second one, where you come back on your own terms, like you were saying before, is so important, because you have the skills to not just be part of the town, but you can participate in making it better, and you can have a good life for yourself rather than just a career rather than just a job.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to start something such as K-Town Delivery that kind of serves a purpose to deliver food, through all these local businesses. I think that one thing that a lot of people don't think about with this situation for me was that being able to get out and go experience life a little bit on my own, and get, like they've got Grubhub and DoorDash and all that stuff down south. So, that was where I first kind of encountered it, and being able to be like, well, why can't Catch Can have one? And being able to find the need for something and pursue that and make it work. And, that would have never happened had I not left, in my opinion. So being able to get out and come back and then be able to contribute towards your community, I think that's kind of my goal, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the dream. Everybody has to deal with home, and if they want to go back to it and not feel stuck.
Yeah.
I really enjoy being here in Ketchikan. I say home, even though it's Ketchikan and not Klawock. Right. But there's kind of like we were talking before, like Ketchikan still feels like home because it's southeast.
I also feel like, home is kind of wherever you make it to, especially the people around you and whatnot. you got to be able to put out positive vibes all you can. And if you're not doing that in a specific setting, you might need to change scenario.
Yeah. Man. So how do you create an app or something like that? Because everybody has ideas. Like, everybody has ideas, all kinds of ideas that would be great things, but how do you take it to that next step?
So honestly, a lot of trial and error. I did a lot of trial and error, a lot of late nights, a lot of YouTube as well. But basically for me, I was able to just kind of get like a base app that I could build and customize with. Then once I started to get into the more intricate stuff, like payment online and sending out specific texts at certain times in the operation, that was where it kind of got tricky, and I had to use this service. It's called Upwork. Are you familiar with it?
No.
So Upwork is basically a way for contractors to provide services, like a software developer can go on there and say, oh, I can build you this and you pay me this, and they're obviously accredited individuals and whatnot. But basically what I did was I just kind of surfed through and found a developer that kind of knew what I needed, and he actually helped me educate myself more on what I actually need. And I just kind of came up with the ideas and said, this is what I want and how it to work. And he kind of just told me, like, all right, this is how we can do it. And just did it. And it's kind of it's a longer story than it actually should be. But, it's basically just kind of just coming up with these ideas. And there's a lot of people out there that are very talented in what they do. And, you can find guys from all over the country, all over the world that'll do these jobs for you, as long as you got the ideas and you know how to communicate that to them in the manner that you want. Pretty much anything is possible. That's why, for me, building that app, it could have been anybody, honestly.
Do you have other ideas?
I do. Nothing
nothing that you have to, like, share. Like, you don't want anybody steal anything.
Well, one that's kind of common knowledge is so my family and I, we used to run the waterfront restaurant. My grandma retired, and everybody and their moms just always comes up to me, you got to start the waterfront back up. We miss your grandma's food. And, a restaurant is a lot of work, but I think that it wouldn't, for that type of venture, it wouldn't even be about the money. It would be about the people. Because so many people supported our family when I was growing up, and I was able to do the things that I was able to do because of them, and them loving my grandma's food too. But one day to be able to give back like that'd be full circle for me.
Yeah, that would be a lot of work.
Yeah,
you're doing a lot of work now though. But what about as far as like Ketchikan is morphing? I was talking with Dave Kayhi last week and talking about how mining town to a logging town to a tourism town.
Honestly, I really believe that the tourism aspect of this town has yet to scratch the surface, and that's kind of a bold statement because it's pretty prevalent here. I think that Ketchikan could do a lot more. I just think that there need to be a couple of fresh thinkers that come through and do something different, because a lot of times what I see is them trying to kind of model Ketchikan's port off of another port and do similar things, and it's kind of just like, well, we could do our own things here, things that pertain to the community in itself. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but in all honesty, I think that Ketchikan has yet to even do as much potential as they could with this town.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Yeah, it seems like it's very cruise ship, and that's most of Southeast, but we're going to have to figure things out. And entrepreneurs filled the void after the pulp mill went out.
Yeah.
But a lot of the smaller communities are starting to get in it, too, because, Kilwauk was hit pretty big. Thorn Bay and Kaufman Cove had to totally reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Because of logging going out, so you're seeing a lot more entrepreneur fishing charters, things like that.
There's a ton of charters over there that are doing really well for themselves too.
Ecotourism, we're seeing that too with the kelp farm over in Craig, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I had one of my buddies, Nick Wicker, was working for him, and he said it was a real good operation over there.
Yeah, so he doesn't work for them anymore?
No, I think he was just doing it part-time after he graduated, but I'm not sure if he's going to continue on with that. I thought it was a pretty good situation and whatnot. It seems like they're doing pretty well too.
Yeah. I don't know who I had heard it from, but apparently kelp needs a specific ecosystem whatever to really thrive. And so over there is pretty good, but like some of the spots over here in the Ketchikan area wouldn't work as well. So that's why they have it.
That's pretty interesting. And, it's definitely up-and-coming market. So my stepdad, he's the regional the regional manager for Trident Seafoods down here. And even they're looking into how they could harvest kelp and whatnot. And it's like they never would have even second guess, or they never would have thought about that again. Yeah. And seeing somebody else do, and they're like, it's actually pretty healthy for you too. Yeah. So
there's a lot of job opportunities too for people who live here and want a career change, and it's super interesting stuff going on. So it's nice, but I do hope that everything kind of stays as far as character wise.
Right.
Like we can always improve ourselves, but keep that the character of the town. Because once you kind of lose that, and people talk about Ketchikan being that downtown during the summers, it's not Ketchikan anymore. Yeah. I don't even recognize it. Well, that's why, right now, it's February 8th, right? The Ketchikan is Ketchikan right here. It's changed a little bit, but the people who live here full the whole year, they're still here.
Well, it's also, it's unique in the way that I could go to another coffee shop and probably run into somebody that I know.
Right.
Going down south, you go to a different coffee shop every day, and you don't know anybody, and so it kind of gives you that sense of home, where, hey, how's it going? How's your grandma doing? How's your family doing? It's that's irreplaceable in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you say is the best part of growing up in a small community? Small being 10,000 for you, 700 for me.
I think the best part, honestly, was just being able to surround yourself with people that you're going to see for the rest of your, growing up. I graduated with kids that I went to second and third grade with. Right. Being able to kind of get that consistency, in my opinion, I think kind of helped me build relationships with friends, and in a social setting, and with sports especially. You grow up with the same people. It's like, we all got the same dream. Let's go win regions and state, and it's that. I think that's the best part. And for me, having a lot of family members, I got a bunch of cousins and stuff too, so that's always good to be around that kind of family as well. But for me, that's definitely the best part about growing up here.
Did you ever win regions?
No, we lost by 10. My senior year, we lost.
My freshman year, we lost by 1.
Oh man!
Gave up a layup with 5.5 seconds left to Craig.
Damn.
And just sticks in the mind. And then next year, we were in the region championship game and lost by 20. It didn't matter. And then junior, senior year, we're middle of the road. But it
still hurts. It always still hurts.
You kind of wonder how things would be different, but also, I think you can, people say the only thing you learn from losing is how to lose.
Right.
But there's a difference between people who are losers and people who just get outscored. But,
and I think the reason why I'm okay with not losing was, we lost my senior year, but the next year they won. And then the years after they won regions again, and then in 18 they won state. And being able to come back, and those kids are like, hey, this is for you. And for me, I'm like, thank you. We didn't win anything. And having Marcus Lee say that, it's like, no, it's for you, but thanks, man. But it's for you. And I remember he was just like, this tall, watching us play basketball at the rec center. And he was always at varsity practice and whatnot. And being able to see him do that, I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a nice kid.
Yeah.
Looked just so fast.
Yeah.
Just no expression on his face. Yeah. He would just go.
Yep. And then his brother was damn good, too.
Yeah. That was a cool team. Bunch of just, like, baseball player workhorses.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had Chris and Marcus, then you had Peel the shooter.
Uh-huh.
Just and
they're
a
all
fun
good
team
kids.
to watch.
They're all great kids.
Yeah, it was pretty much my journalism class. It was. There were some days like, guys, come on. You guys reel it in a little bit. But, yeah, you don't get that in a lot of places. And I think with some of the problems we're having with some of the down south areas is that you don't have that connection to anything.
Yeah.
You don't have kids in high school that are connected to anything. You don't have, even adults. There's just nothing there to really bring people together. So that sense of it's my turn eventually, and this is part of the whole program.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people who came before you and just having that appreciation. I don't think you get that everywhere.
You know what else sticks out in my mind, which is similar to that, are, all the different kind of fundraisers you do on a sports team as well, like a pancake breakfast or like a bake sale. That gets the community involved, and you're able to see people who are actually supporting you and whatnot. And you go down south, they do a raffle ticket. It's like, okay, I go to the store and bought a raffle ticket from a basketball player I don't even know where he goes to school at. Yeah. And it's a lot different here. And I think that the community being involved with things such as sports or other academics and whatnot, I think it's a very important part to why Ketchikan is so good in that way, I guess you could say.
We weren't able to have raffle tickets at my school because it was considered gambling, and I'm not sure if that was a district thing or a California thing, but so we had a crab feed.
That's better.
Just wait. So it was my first year as an assistant coach, and it was the crab feed, and we sold the tickets. It was adults only. So all the boosters and all those people show up for it. And there's 4 high schools in the town. So one had a rib feed, one had whatever. So the head coach made me buy a ticket. And I was like, oh, sure, fine, whatever. So I had to work the bar and then also go there. And so I get my plate there, and they got lemon and butter. And so just scoop the crab, but it's in a big bowl. I'm like, it's already shelled. Okay, perfect. And it's cold.
That's awesome.
And it's from a can. I thought, this is canned crab.
Oh.
This isn't real crab. But I was excited. I was fired up. I'm like, watch me put away some crab here. But it was canned crab, and I put my butter on top and just waited for it to kind of melt, but nothing. I thought, we can't be charging $35 for this. This is canned crab at $35.
Oh, man.
But, so that was rough. But
I had a similar scenario. I was doing my senior internship for college, and I was doing it at this fancy smancy restaurant down in Ashland, Oregon, 5-star restaurant, does everything by the book, very, very high end. And one night for a dinner service, they had a pre-dinner huddle, and the cook's like, all right, this is what our special is, try it, everybody gets to try it. So they served for, I think, about $56 a 6-ounce coho fillet. Ooh. And I was like, pretty much just one of those, one green bean and some sauce. And I'm like, you guys are charging $56 for this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so, it was just I love coho, but it was probably about 5 inches long, and they were charging out just so much for that. And I'm like, you guys are probably getting that for like $3.50.
Yeah, it's hard not to be a snob, but when you know the difference, it's like, this is not right. I went to a buddy's house, and he had frozen pollock in the freezer. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? Come to Alaska, we'll catch some fish, and you'll know what the difference is. But that is the thing. If they don't know the difference, it's like fish is good for you, so we'll get some pollock, or we'll get some.
And some of those, some of the the middle states, they kind of just. They don't even know the difference between farmed or fresh. And I'm like, if you could taste fresh every day, you would 100% be like, I'll never go back.
Yeah. You shouldn't smell it.
Yeah.
When I was down in Laramie with my fiance, you could walk in some days to the Safeway and you could smell. And I thought, that's horrible. And they would advertise it as never frozen. Well, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's never frozen because it's not.
It's just so gross.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you don't know any different, then it's okay. But I went to a restaurant in California, somewhere like that, and I just asked what the fish was. I wasn't even trying to be a jerk about it. I said, what kind of fish is it? And they said, it's Pacific salmon. which one, but they thought it was just you had Atlantic salmon, you had Pacific salmon. So, well, what is it, and just, I don't know. You don't want to make things more difficult for people. And I probably shouldn't have even asked because I wasn't going to get it anyway. But
well, it's, I think that form of not being educated in, what's good salmon or seafood in general, I think there's somewhat of a competitive advantage for some of these restaurants and markets down there because, they're getting it from, for example, like gooey ducks. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, every Thursday, Friday in the winter times over at the air cargo warehouse, you got the Thomas Brothers and a couple other processors that come and drop off about a total on any given morning 65,000 pounds of seafood or gooey ducks that are supposed to be shipped out, all over the lower 48 and being transferred on to China and whatnot. And just being in that situation, seeing all that come in and, get transported out of Ketchikan, it's actually kind of interesting because it all starts here, but it ends up in so many different cracks of the world. It's crazy.
Yeah. What's your favorite, we'll go easy food, like easy fish, like a halibut, salmon, whatever, and then what's your favorite kind of exotics, like your gooey duck, herring eggs, things like that?
I do like herring eggs. I'd definitely say it would be herring eggs and black cod.
Black cod?
I like black cod.
Black cod's real good.
Oh, yeah.
Pickled black cod. I don't like pickles at all.
Really?
I don't really like vinegar or pickled anything, but like pickled black cod, and then Dave Mitchell did some pickled coho.
Ooh, that's good
and
too.
And it's so good.
Yeah,
it's different, but
I had some pickled gooey duck a couple of weeks ago, and it always tastes the same. I don't know why, but it's just I enjoy it. It's definitely an acquired taste. I would never eat a whole jar of it in one sitting, but a couple pieces here and a couple pieces there with a beer. It's always nice.
Was that part of the routine growing up? We moved up to Klawock when I was 5, and so like we had some salmon, but it wasn't kind of part of we're beef eaters from Colorado.
So growing up with a restaurant, we ate a lot of restaurant food, and with my stepdad running the Trident plant here, we had an overabundance of salmon. So I ate salmon a lot just because it was cost efficient and whatnot for us. But the funny thing is you hear so many people that, don't you ever get tired of salmon? I'm like, no, I don't know why. I just don't.
No, it's so much more versatile than I think people give it credit for. Because people think, if you haven't cooked salmon before, you just put a little bit of lemon pepper on it, and then that's it. And it's like, well, no. Like, it's very versatile. If you get a good fillet, like you don't have to just cook it one or two ways. You can do so many different things with it.
I like. I used to barbecue them on the grill. Put a little sheet of tin foil on the grills and get those grill marks in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that used to be my favorite thing to do down in college. But I haven't been cooking too much salmon lately. I don't know why. It's just kind of it's just been sitting in my freezer waiting for me to cook it.
Yeah, it gets out of the rotation. My wife makes a pretty good chowder.
Ooh.
So we go through some chowder, some salmon chowder, and some halibut chowder. But there's not a lot of spots here in Ketchikan that serve really good food.
Right.
As far as
seafood?
Yeah, seafood. Like you can have a bunch of burger stuff, and I think maybe that is that locals like seafood, but most of the time they can either get their own.
Right. I think that's what it is.
Prices.
More times than not, a lot of people just catch their own and cook their own. I know the Fish House does their own operation with like their salmon patties and whatnot. I know that's all sourced locally and everything, so that if I were to ever go anywhere for seafood, it'd probably be there for me right now.
Such great fish tacos.
And they got a good ambiance there, just especially like in the summertime with the live music. Oh, it's always a good time.
Yeah. I was really excited that they're open for the winter.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that they're
they've been pretty busy. We've been doing quite a few deliveries with them too, so that's always good. And I don't know why they weren't ever open in the wintertime. All the locals love them.
Yeah. I think it's some areas I think they have to be careful just because you don't want to overextend. I know when Baden Brewing opened up, it was just a tasting room and still is. Just keep it, manageable. You don't want to grow too fast because if you can't do anything, and I think Sean was in good shape too because after 3 years then everything shut down, and so you're not overextended. So I think it was probably good.
Yeah. But, did you hear about that new distillery that we're getting?
I've heard about
Mark
it for
Sievertson?
The last couple of years because he was talking about when we were still coaching together. I was still in the plans.
As recent as 3 years, I'd say. So when I started working over at the airport, because he's the airport cop over there, just one day in passing, we were chit-chatting about it, and he was telling me all about it, and then all of a sudden, a year later, it's like, boom, all right, I got it. And I think that's so cool that they're going to be able to do that. And they've got a good spot downtown. They've got a great spot.
Not to compare us to other towns, but is there something else from like a Juneau that we wish we had here? Like Pelnini's is pretty awesome.
You read to my mind. That was it. And then, I don't know why they never opened a place here.
No, Breeze Inn is really good too.
Yeah, I don't know where you'd put a Breeze Inn though.
No, I heard there's a Three Bears going in down.
I heard that too.
In Saxman.
Yeah, I don't know directly where it is, but I heard it's out on the southern end. By the airport, that gas station, they used to have a convenience store there, and I think Petro's the one that owns that. And I heard that they were going to open up a new convenience store there. That'd be a perfect spot for a Breeze Inn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hit it right before you head out north or whatever, and just a nice little spot.
I was talking up Breeze Inn, and then a couple kids went up there for debate or something like that. Like, it was totally overrated. I was like, hey, just chill there, right? Just because your teacher recommended it doesn't mean it's automatically bad.
They don't even know.
No.
I know. We used to go there back in the day every time before a baseball game when we'd go up there for All-Stars. All right, everybody get a couple donuts, some Gatorade. It's always the best. You just pull right in. Even when I go there now, it's like, I got to go get a bagel.
Yeah, it's just part of it. Is there something that... like a memory from Sitka? You went to Sitka a lot for basketball. Did you play baseball too?
Yeah, I play a little bit of baseball, only till my sophomore year.
Okay.
And, the baseball trips for All-Stars and Junior All-Stars, those were a lot of fun because, we were all just like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that age group. And we've all been friends since we were, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with, you can go anywhere and see somebody, it's like, he used to play baseball with that guy, or he used to play basketball with that guy. And, you kind of build these relationships for the future. And in all honesty, I think it's pretty cool. Like, I could go to Sitka, and one time I was, when I was fishing, we were up there in Sitka, and we just happened to go out to the P bar after we got done with some network. And sit down at the bar, and then all of a sudden I look over, and there's a table full of dudes I played against. And then, instant, hey, well, how's it going? And then, that turned into a great night. And being able to go into different towns like that around Southeast, it's just like second to none.
Yeah. So is there a specific place or something you have when you go to Sitka? Because whenever we'd come over here, it was McDonald's.
Kenny's Walk.
Kenny's Walk in Sitka?
I don't know why. It was just always like where we would go for team dinner. It's like, let's go to Kenny's Walk. I don't know why.
Was the bowling alley out when you were traveling up there?
In Sitka?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had one.
So that's a yes. Yeah, we had it was like a little bowling tour, right? There wasn't one in Juneau that I knew of.
Right.
But there was one in Sitka. It was like 3 lanes or something like that.
Huh. I didn't even know that.
It was right across from Stereo North by the Sciatica, which is now Westmark or whatever. It was just like right in there.
Okay, is it like down in the little alley on the other side?
Yeah, I think so. I just kind of remember being there, and I remember it, like only once. I think one trip we went
that's
there.
That's interesting.
Then of course the bowling alley here.
Oh man, we used to have all our birthday parties there.
Yeah, that was full on. That was pretty sweet.
You know, that was definitely one of those when it went away. You're just kind of like, dang, you don't really realize it's gone till it's gone.
Yeah, things that you like to have. You don't use it all the time, but it'd be nice to have. And I think we have some of that stuff in Ketchikan, but some things just aren't viable.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about any kind of business is sometimes it's just might not be the right one.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's kind of how the bowling alley was. They kind of just didn't want to keep operating it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Well, it's getting a little more busy in here, so we don't want to take anybody else's spot. So what do you got for like a closer about either growing up in Ketchikan, coming back to Ketchikan, business stuff, entrepreneur, whatever?
Honestly, I think that if I were to go back in time and tell myself anything, it would definitely be to build a work ethic early. If you can build, and I think that towns like Ketchikan, Klawock, a lot of times the kids are, more accustomed to being out in the outdoors, doing outdoors things that keep them moving. Well, that also comes with building a work ethic, being outside, working on the yard, yada, yada, yada. I think that the biggest thing for any type of entrepreneur would be to build that work ethic early so you have something, to stabilize you in the future. Anybody could be an entrepreneur. Like talking about me building that app, anybody could have built that app. But a lot of times you just got to cross that line. You just got to go for it, got to do it, and everything else will fall into place if you got that bright head on your shoulders,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good closing, man. Thanks for being on here. Appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.